Yeah, or you could be pretty young and pretty clever in life, can't you? You know, pretty wise. You know.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. Age doesn't always, like I said, age doesn't always define wisdom. You know, some people have, like we were just saying just now, a lot of people have to grow up quickly. You know, have to learn how to become a man or a woman from a young age. You know, got responsibilities from a young age. You know, having to look after their siblings sometimes. Say for example, you know, because their mother and father, they might be in a single parent household like we were talking about earlier, and sometimes mum or dad might have to be working. And you know what you might have as the older sister or older brother, you might have to be the one that starts shouldering some of the responsibilities from a young age. You know, learning to cook and clean and look after you know, your younger siblings, brother and sisters, or whatever the case may be. And
Become a mother to them.
yeah, in a way, or father in a way to them. You
A
know,
lot of people. A lot
so
of people these days end up in that situation.
in that situation, and it's not always fair on that person, to be honest, because they shouldn't have to be as a child, yeah, and you shouldn't have to be in that role. You should not have to be in a position where you have to be in that role, personally, anyway. And like you said, it is a all too common thing, you know, in society, you know, very much so. But I don't think it's really fair that the child has to shoulder those responsibilities. You know, a child should be able to grow up, you know.
Well, I think it's just the world, again, it's the world we're living in, do you know what I mean?
That's it, that is reality, the sad reality.
You know, I mean, I know this girl online who I speak to sometimes, you know,
Yeah.
and her mother's just died or something,
Oh, wow.
you know, and she's got 5 younger, and she's got to look after them now.
Wow, yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so you've got to think about that, you know, she's only young herself, she's only about 16, this girl, 17, and she's got to sort of like look after all her younger brothers and sisters, do you know what I mean? You know, and it's difficult for some people, do you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
but it's so hard for her. She tells me whatever. But I tell her, like, one day, you know, you'll benefit, you know, because you'll be wiser, you know, as a person. It just builds your wisdom up, you know. Having a tough life really makes you wiser, in a funny way.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Like you know, talking about us. You know, you losing your father really toughened you up.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
As you know, maybe a stronger man.
Well, I'm lucky that I must say that it didn't really bother me. I don't think, not unless it bothered me unconsciously and I didn't realise. But I must say, I from a young age I was always quite mature, quite like an old soul in a way. And I don't know, from a young age for some reason I always just accepted the fact that I kind of looked at it as like, it is what it is, like, you know, they're not together anymore, he's not present, he doesn't want any contact or any kind of relationship or whatever. We're in a different place, living in a different country, if you see what I mean, while he's still in the UK, and, you know, living a completely different life, and, you know, it was, you know, so I just accepted it for what it was, if you see what I mean. And
well, you do, don't you?
And it just is what it is. It's one of those things that you can't regret not having something that you never had. Well, that's how I look at it. It's hard. It's a little bit hard to regret something that you never had. You know, you can in a way, like you said. You can look at other people's. You might grow up and see. You might grow up and see some of your friends growing up in a household with, you know, both of their mum and dad are present and they've got a lovely life and a good stable home and shit like that. But I never really kind of, you know, was really too stressed about it or anything, too like worried too much. I knew my mum was you know. She was there, you know. You know, even though shit was not perfect.
I think a child just accepts that they have to.
You have to, you know. It is what it is. You know, you just, you know, yeah, keep pushing.
You know, I say, you know, I try to be positive.
Yeah.
Every moment of the day. You know, I think positive is an energy. I would say it's an energy.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, when you're feeling sad, you don't get much energy. You know, you know, when you think, like, if you're really, really sad in life, yeah, you don't really want to live in life, do you know what I mean? You know, and you don't really want to get out of bed. You know, you just want to sleep, do you know what I mean? You know, and you get weaker, you know. But positive is being strong, you know, wanting to climb the mountain, wanting to live, want to live forever, you know, enjoying life,
Yeah.
you know, not worried about dying, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, what's the point of that one?
Well, I always say to people, I know it's hard for some people, it's easier said than done, you know. But I'm a big believer in you shouldn't worry about things you can't control. Anything that you can't control.
You can control death.
Or directly, well, you can to a degree in a way, if you see what I mean. But what I'm trying to say is certain things are inevitable in life, and you know, certain things you cannot control or directly affect. And there's no point worrying about those things, you know. Of course you'd be cautious, of course you'd be trying to be safe as much as possible, and you know, etc. You know, because you want to have everyone hopes for, you know, wants to have a nice life, you know, hopes for a long, you know, happy, healthy life, but you know.
Yeah, I don't want to go outside my door and fall down a big hall tomorrow and die. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Nobody wants to do that, but you know, if it happens, it happens.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
Mm.
We've got to go one day. Do you know what I mean? That's how you got to look at it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So I'm quite looking forward to getting older. Really, do you know what I mean? Like, you know, I feel like I'm happier today than I am 10 years ago.
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
I mean,
In a much better place mentally. Positive. You're positive.
Well, I was back 10 years ago, I think. I've always been positive, you know, even, I think every year that goes by, I've been positive, do you know what I mean? But I've not always gone right in life, you know, like I said, you know, I've had relationships, and I've not really, you know, sort of, got to know the girl before having sex and things like that, do you know what I mean? You know?
More lust.
I got myself into trouble a bit.
More lust than love.
Well, I think we all do it, you know, like, you know, it's not my fault, I don't feel. I just feel like my mum and dad split up, my dad didn't guide me, do you know what I mean? He didn't guide me because there was drink and alcohol everywhere, do you know what I mean? You know, it's just the world I'm living in, do you know what I mean? And my mum wasn't educated about philosophy at school, do you know what I mean? Nobody taught her at school, do you know what I mean? How to be a mum, or what, or, you know, do you know what I mean? They just didn't tell her about the world she was living in. And to be honest with you, she told me that even Australia wasn't existing when she was a little girl, you know, in the geography books, you know. I mean, that come out, she thought it's funny, you know, when she was 16, you know, because she was interested in geography, you know, and, you know, she learned about Australia when she was 16, do you know what I mean? Because they started publishing it.
Okay.
In public,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Yeah. You know, and they hide a lot of stuff from public, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't think they educate children at school or at home sometimes, you know. I'd say it's depending if you've got golden parents, you know, that get on, that are quite educated and quite intelligent.
Yeah.
That are capable of getting on with each other.
Yeah.
And being a family and bringing that child up to the best of their ability.
That's it.
You know, but in some cases, you know, people meet and all kinds of problems, you know, they're not being brought up properly. Just not being educated properly, you know. You know, how, you know, I'm guilty of that, you know, sort of my life going wrong, you know, because I know that, like, when I got married, and my whole relationship wasn't bad, do you know what I mean? I didn't do any bad things, like go sleep with another woman or anything like that, do you know what I mean? I didn't do anything bad. It's just that I feel that I could have really sort of appreciated her a little bit more, do you know what I mean? Things like that, do you know what I mean?
I get you.
Or just get to know her more before I did have sex with her in the first place, do you know what I mean? Just settle down, just calm down with it, you know. I was too excited, do you know what I mean? Like I say, sort of when you first sort of like a young man, you're a bit like a rabbit, you know. And if you've got no one guiding you, you're going to be like a rabbit, basically. If you see what I mean, you know, you're gonna go out and have sex. You know what I mean? If nobody's giving you any guidance, you know. So that's why I think in this, you know, in society, a lot of people don't get any guidance.
Yeah.
But
I think also that's partly, when you're a young person, I think that's kind of quite normal, you know, but I think once you get to a certain age, you kind of, sex is still very important, don't get me wrong, but I think once you've experienced sex for a number of years, you start to understand that after that, I think everyone, when they're young, everyone is free to experiment and to do what they want to do, and kind of enjoy their lives for a few years and have some fun or whatever, and whatever, party and have a good time for a few years. But I think as you mature, you start to realise that sex is more than just fun, if you see what I mean. More than just, you start to realise that sex is actually, the more educated you become and the more older you become and the more wiser you become, you realise that sex is more, it's an energy exchange, that's what it's called, sex. The word sex means sexual energy exchange, so it's,
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
See, I'm learning something. I'm learning everything, something every day.
Yeah. So, that's what it is. You've got choosing the right sexual partners is very important too. Not everyone is always compatible with everyone either too. That happens too. Sometimes you get people that you get instantaneous chemistry with them straight away, and then other times it might take time to get to understand what each other like, and then be able to please each other to to the full potential based on getting to know each other. Getting to understand what your likes and dislikes and all those kind of things. Because obviously, as we know, that plays a huge part in any relationship anyway. Especially in an adult relationship, that plays a huge. That's a huge part. It's not everything, not the whole relationship isn't just based upon that, but that is a huge factor, and it is important, to have a healthy, life that is, you're both happy, that is important. You don't want the other person to be unfulfilled, or that's why I think it's communicating. It's one of those things again that, not to divert too much of positivity, but it's about communication. It's about talking to each other. Like I said, sometimes you will hit it off straight away with someone, and other times it might be just it might be good, but it can only become better by communication. So yeah. Anyway, mate, any final words or any kind of closing statements or anything you want to leave with the people in regards to positivity? Before we call it a night, and for this week's episode.
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I just sort of say, try to be positive in life. Positivity is actually quite a beautiful thing to have. And I don't want to lose it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm.
I think it lives within me all the time.
Yeah.
Well, not all the time. I go to sleep, it dies.
Mm.
I wake up, it kind of, I just
re-emerges.
I try my best to be positive. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know that I'm getting older now.
Mm.
Okay, so I know that I need to keep myself strong.
Yeah.
I need to focus on eating. Looking after myself. That's another intelligence, I think. You know what I mean? There's lots of different. Sex is an intelligence. Some people don't know what they're doing, or some people not ever had sex before. Do you know what I mean? Or some people want to be alone. Some people don't want to have children.
Yeah, true.
There's all kinds of people out there.
Yeah.
And I don't think, filling your life full potential is actually falling in love and having babies and all that. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
Because you can have a good life without all that.
Yeah, true.
It's possible.
I think just like you said, it's all an individual thing, isn't it?
It's possible. It depends on the experiences. You might, like I say, I was talking about that person that had, she's just lost her mother, and now she's got to kind of look after her, be a mother to them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
she's taking over that role.
She's got no choice in the matter in a funny way.
Yeah.
These things happen to a lot of people. Do you know what I mean?
A lot of people, yeah.
It kind of ruins your life in a funny way, but sometimes when things ruin your life, like for instance, my mum and dad splitting up, that kind of ruined my life, but it made me stronger.
Yeah.
In other ways.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I say, it's a tough world we're living in. It's not perfect.
No, not by any stretch of the imagination.
And I feel like that's, I just wish in a kind of way that everyone was happy. Everybody will, like today, a lot of people pulling their hair out in a kind of way, getting frustrated because they can't keep up with all the bills and that. Do you know what I mean? That's, do you know what I mean?
It's true.
You know,
Very true.
and you know, it's daunting in a kind of way for people. You know, it's like it's no hope. You know, for them. You know, it's like there's not any work around. You know what I mean? Not many jobs. Do you know what I mean? It's just like you know. But I would say that just got to try to be positive no matter what.
That's it.
You know, it's your only hope. You know, sometimes a smile can save your life.
Yeah.
Or a smile can save somebody else's life, believe it or not, and it can.
Yeah.
You know, and it's true. You know, like a bit of positive energy or the right guidance to someone can save someone's life.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I'm a big believer too that, like you say, positivity can kind of be like infectious. You know, sometimes people pick up off your energy. People pick up off of your vibe. You know, if you're the type of person
you know,
that's always positive and stuff, when you meet people and greet people and deal with people on a daily basis, whoever they may be in work or whatever, friends, family, whatever, they pick up on your energy, don't they? That you're a happy, upbeat, positive person. You know,
exactly.
And sometimes that rubs off on people. You know, it's infectious, and they kind of, you know.
I personally think it's something that you can actually teach. Actually, do you know what I mean? And I personally think it should be a subject. You know what I mean? Positivity.
Yeah.
You know, and people should try to sort of study it and understand it.
Yeah.
In a kind of way, what positivity is. You know, and like I say, I think we should study it. You know, and understand it a bit more. You know, what positivity is and how important it is for everyone.
Yeah.
To be positive. You know.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
You know, it'd be great if we were living in the world and everyone, you know, we're all living in a big positive bubble together.
Yeah.
And everyone was positive.
Yeah.
You know, I think like if everybody else was positive, that would make me a lot happier. That's for sure. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I already am.
Yeah.
You know, like, so I'm not living in the perfect world, and you know, not like I'm as positive I possibly can be. Okay, but I believe that I could go to a higher plane if everybody else was positive.
Yeah.
You know, with me.
Yeah, true.
You know,
Yeah.
I wish that everybody was rich.
Yeah.
In this world, if you see what I mean. There's no poor people.
Yeah. That would help a lot.
Wouldn't that be good?
That'd be a good start. That'd be a good start.
Would that be possible?
That wouldn't solve all the problems, but that would be a good start towards improving people's happiness. If you see what I mean. I think people through financial freedom, I think people would be a lot happier.
Yes,
You know,
I think
people,
I would.
You know.
I would.
So,
you know, I think people would feel safer on the streets.
Yeah.
You know, if everybody wants to eat off each other, do you know what I mean? If everybody was rich, can you imagine it? You know, I think is it possible? I mean, they did have a golden age, didn't they? Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
You know, and they reckon the next decade's going to be the golden age. Do you know what I mean? Whether it's true or not, you know.
Well, right now the Bank of England has said that we're in the greatest recession, the last greatest recession that has happened in the last...
Very positive, isn't it, news?
In the last 30 years or something like that, they said.
What, positive?
You know?
Is that negative or what?
Because of how high inflation is, if you see what I mean. But anyway, guys...
Don't let it get you down.
That's it.
Keep positive.
That's it. Stay positive, keep smiling, keep your head up, keep moving, keep pushing, keep going. Don't quit, don't give up. You know, stay strong. Just know that you're powerful.
Like Superman.
And you just got to stay mentally strong. You know, keep pushing.
No matter
what. No matter what obstacles you face, no matter what no matter what you're going through or experiencing, know that shit can only get better. You know, as long as you're willing to
get up.
Yeah, that's it. You know, so yeah, it's up to you. Yeah. Anyway, mate.
That's it.
And that's it. I hope you guys have enjoyed this week's episode, of course. Stay tuned because, of course, obviously we'll be back again next week with a brand new episode for you guys. But yeah, this has been the Philosophy Podcast. Good night. God bless. Stay positive. One love. Bless out.